NewEggians, we got an awesome video in store for you. This is one of our most requested videos. We have the MSI Codex R. So we're going to be doing an unboxing with a review at the end. We're going to do what's inside the box. We're going to do first impressions. We are also going to do parts or ports and fans, what's all on inside of the computer. Specs of this PC are quick. CPU is a 14th gen 1440F, which is 2.5 gigahertz. Minimum with a P-Core Max Turbo of 4.7 gigahertz, and our E-Core Max is 3.5 with a min of 1.8. Boo-hoo. It's a base 65 watts TDP and 148 watts max TDP. Our our GPU is an RTX 4060 8GB version. Our RAM is 32 gigabytes DDR5 5600. We got a 2 terabyte M.2 Gen 4 just screaming fast M.2. We got a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply, so any upgrades in the future that you might want to do, it'll take you almost all the way there. We're probably going to upgrade that in the future. And it does come with Wi-Fi. And then moving on, we're going to be doing the bloatware with explanation of the MSI software. We're going to get into the BIOS settings like the resizable bar and XMP support. We're going to talk about the keyboard and mouse, if it's even worth taking or just trashing. All right, guys, in a future video, we have upgrades planned for this guy. We're going to be doing GPU, RAM, SSD, M.2, a cooling if it's needed, and an M.2. And we are also going to probably do an RGB goodness upgrade. Also, guys, this PC is fully upgradable. All right, guys, let me stop smabbling and babbling and let's bust right into this bad mamma jamma of a PC. Yeah. All right out of the bat, we have some instructions. It looks like we have some SATA cables, and a power cable, which you're going to need. So we got 2 antennas for your Wi-Fi. Extra SATA cable, right angle. All right, guys, it looks like they wrapped our PC really nicely here. I like the foam. Got our MSI mouse. Let's see if that's worth anything. And let's dump her on out. Probably going to be upside down. All right off the bat, we have our keyboard and mouse, which we'll get into a little bit later if it's even worth having that or having to truck it in the garbage. PC's not too heavy. I'm going to say it's probably about 20 pounds. And this foam is really on here good. It's packaged very well. I like that they took the time. Ooh, they even gave you like a Velcro case. Look at this. MSI paying attention to details. Yeah, look at that. Velcro. I don't know why you would save this, but, you know, of course. Looks like it's got good ventilation in the front, good ventilation in the top. I wish they'd come out with an accessory, you know, like a side panel that's graded so you could add more ventilation. Torque down here pretty darn good. You're going to probably need an iFixit kit with the T2 Phillips. There's a glass side panel, which is neat. And it does look like they put plastic on here too. So this is the thing that they're talking about, the foam thing that you want to remove. You do not want to leave this in your PC. It will literally eat itself to die. Hold your glasses, pull it off to the side. All right, I'm going to leave that on just for fingerprint wise until I got to put that back on later. All right, guys, so move this straight out and chuck it. Or keep it in case you have warranty issues or anything like that. Keep this off the side so you can mail your PC back so they get an intact PC. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I'm impressed. Good job, MSI. They put a bracket here probably to hold up the GPU so it doesn't break on shipping. You could probably eliminate this. This GPU doesn't need this, but if you had like a 3080, 4090, you probably want this because the GPU is going to be, you know, all the way back here. I'm going to say 120 millimeter fan. Looks like it lights up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heat pipe design. Helps. It looks like they got Kingston Fury Beast DDR5 RAM in here. There's 4 SATA ports right up there for you to plug your goodness into. And anyways, guys, let's get on to the ports and specs of this PC. So in the front, we have our power button. Nice crisp push. We got our reset button, headphones, a microphones jack, 2 USB 5 gigahertz ports. All right, guys, to the rear with the gear. And we have, it looks like a 120 millimeter fan. We got the old style PS2 connector. 2 right here. We got 2 USB 2.0s. You got a 2.5 gigabytes Realtek NIC. The Wi-Fi is an Intel NIC. We got 2 more USB 3.0s. And then we got a USB-C 10 gig. These are 5 gigs. 2 more USB 2.0s. We can have 7.1 surround sound with a digital audio output. We have our 650 watt gold PSU, which looks like it sucks from the bottom, and it has a fan filter. All right, guys, I want to get first impressions of powering this thing on and what it looks like before I go over all the specs. I already kind of went over the quick specs with you guys, but there's a lot more that I didn't go over with you that I will go over with you. One thing is this PC will support 4 monitors. It has 1 HDMI port and 3 display ports. Ho, ho, ho. That's neat. I like that. The RGB fans are sexy. And it looks like we got an RG. Oh, they chimped out and didn't put one back here. I'm betting with this thing being fully upgradable, you could easily add another one of these fans to the rear. Just have to figure out the brand. I don't recognize the brand by hand. Yeah, I'm really impressed, guys. I'm going to, so far on looks and ventilation, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up as we go here. I mean, my review might change as I do some benchmarks in gaming, but it's highly unlikely. I know the specs of these parts, and with the 14th gen being as good as it is, this thing's going to be an awesome gaming computer. So, guys, let's go over the gaming. Let's go over the specs real quick before we get into the other portions of the videos. This is a Codex R 14th gen. The motherboard is an MSI Pro B760 VCW or VC Wi-Fi board, and this is a full ATX motherboard. The CPU has 10 cores, and that's 6 P cores, 4 E cores. With the 16 threads, its L2 cache is 9.5 megabytes and has a smart cache of 20 megabytes per second. All right, guys, so you got 2 USB 3.2s on the top, which are 5 gigabytes per second. The CPU that are supported on this motherboard, you can do a 14th gen, 13th gen, or a 12th gen. And the LG, it's an LG 1700 chipset. There's an included 32 gigabytes of DDR5 5600, 2x 16 gigs for dual channel awesomeness. The memory supports in here is up to 4x DDR5 with a maximum of 256 gigs of RAM. Holy cow, this could be a video editing monster. Anyways, this memory is supported. That's OC'd in this machine is 7000 all the way down to 5800. And XMP JDEC profiles that are supported are 5600 all the way down to 4800. Storage in here is a 2 terabyte M.2 Gen 4. There's a second M.2 slot that is compatible Gen 4. That's the chipset. The one that's installed is on the CPU's set. There's 4x SATA ports on here, but if you use the second M.2 slot, you lose SATA port, or no, so SATA port number 8. Will be unavailable when installing another SSD or SATA NVMe. The Intel NIC on here is a wireless NIC, and it's an Intel Wi-Fi 7 MIMO 802.11ac RX 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, up to 433 megabytes of bandwidth. It does support Bluetooth 5.1, so you can connect your phone and all that. Anyways, for the audio controller, it's a Realtek ALC 897, and it supports 7.1 channel high definition audio, and it also has that optical audio SPDIF output if you really need it. The GPU is an MSI 4060, which we already talked about. All right, guys, fan and pump headers support on this board is awesome. We got one for the CPU, we got one for an AIO pump water cooling system, and we got 5 for any system fans you might want to add. There are 2x addressable version 2 RGB LED connectors. All right, guys, I want to get into some things. I want to talk about the keyboard and mouse and also the antennas that come on here. So first things first, we got a Wi-Fi. This is like a $20 add-on. It's called an ASUS external antenna. It has the same SMA connectors in the rear that these antennas do. The only thing I don't like about these is because they're sitting back here plugged in, and if you put this thing in the back of like a corner, you have a metal PC and a wall and all sorts of stuff around it. You're going to get really crappy Wi-Fi signal if that's how you're trying to do your PC. A quick $20 hack upgrade, get one of these, and also it's magnetic. So you can stick it to the side of your PC. You could stick it right here like that. You know, if I had the glass panel right there, you know, stick it like right there, and it's above your metal, and it also, you know, articulates. It's a very cool $20 upgrade. Anyways, I'll stop bambling about antennas. All right, guys, so first impressions for this keyboard and mouse. I'm gonna say that impressions wise, it looks like a gaming mouse. It looks like it's DPI adjustable. It looks like it's a USB. Looks like it's a laser optical. There's a port down here. I have no clue what this is for. I doubt this is wireless. It's got weights in the bottom. Wow. MSI kind of trying to knock it out of the park. Yeah, so you can adjust this to make it lighter or heavier depending on what you like. Of course, I think it's kind of funky. I just really like a light mouse. Hand grip wise, I'm going to say it fits in my hand pretty good for my medium. I got large size hands for gloves, so it fits pretty nice in my hand. The keyboard looks a pretty decent design. It's a USB. The keys feel soft and mushy. I prefer mechanical where I can actually get like a feedback, and I like a lot of tension. So as a starting gaming keyboard, I'm going to say A+ so far. But there will be a future review on this gaming mouse and keyboard because I didn't have a chance to do it with this unboxing. All right, guys, moving on to one last thing I want to do before we bust inside to this bad mamma jamma of a PC. I want to know how loud these fans are. So I got my trusty dusty Promex sound meter on the set. Test, test. So ambient on the set with me talking is about 70 dB. Quiet, it's 40. I'm going to give it an A+ on a very quiet PC. I will have some more testing done with this in the gaming and benchmarks to see how loud it gets after we complete a cycle of gaming and benchmarks. It's usually about 2 to 3 hours of testing, hard testing on the CPU and GPU, and I'll see how much the fans ramp up and we'll see how loud it gets. So guys, I'm going to pop the GPU out and let's get a look inside this awesome MSI Codex Type R. All right guys, Milo has decided to join us and we're going to go right ahead and pop the GPU out. I can't really move the PC because I have a cat that is, you know, decided to claim this PC as his own. He's so cute. How could you say no to a face like that? I know it's hard for me too. Anyways guys, we're going to pop this GPU out. It's 3 screws. You got to kind of take this. Milo, Daddy's going to have to move the computer a little bit. Ready? All right. So we're in the rear here, and you have to undo this. I'm just going to unscrew it all the way and pull this out of here for ease of use. And then we got 3 Phillips head screws that we got to get. All right. So 1, 2, 3, and this bar will come off. Don't worry about the GPU falling. It's still secured by the PCI Express slot. So one thing I want to mention that I didn't do when I was talking about this antenna, I didn't give you guys a link on screen. It's going to be up here, somewhere on the screen around here for this ASUS antenna that works for the MSI Codex R. All right, now that you push this button in towards the top, you're going to pull straight out, wiggle and jiggle. Make sure you don't grab the fan. I grab right there on the GPU if your fingers will fit, or you can grab like that. Try never to stick your fingers in these fans. They're very delicate and they will break. So here's our MSI Codex 4060. Decent looking graphics card. Now I'm curious to compare this to our other 4060. Alright guys, so just comparison, here's our ASUS 4060. You can see it's got larger fans, kind of a larger footprint, thicker card, larger radiator. Alright guys, so let's measure what type of graphics card size will fit in here. 13.5, but 13.5 to be safe for clearance wise for in between here. And if we look right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PCI Express 16X slots, and our top one is got this cool shroud on it, and that's to protect the signal noise. And then we see our 2 terabyte Samsung, 2 terabyte MSI Gen 4 M.2. Down here is our other M.2 slot. Does not look like they included any screws, which kind of blows, but they're not that. I'll have some linked over here down in the description down below. Our Fury X RAM, which I'll pop out quick. And that's our Fury X DDR5 RAM. It's not bad RAM. So make sure if you do pop it out, you reseat it good. And remember that if you put this M.2 slot down in here, one of these is disabled, number 8, whichever one that is. 5, 6, 7, 8, so it's going to be one of these 2 bottoms. Other than that, I did notice one negative, which is probably going to lose about 1/4 of a thumb. Where's the VRAM heat sinks? Why didn't you add any cooling with the VRAM, guys? Come on, MSI. You're trying to make this PC only last 2 to 3 years? Being extravagant, this thing probably will last 5 years if you take care of it and keep it clean. But still, like, that's a good spot to have a heatsink to keep the heat off the VRM, so things, you know, on the motherboard stay nifty-50. And other than that, guys, it does look like it has some screens on the top. I kind of overlooked that. Removable screen. It's magnetic, which is pretty neat. So you can take this and remove this and clean it. I wonder if there's something in the front that you can pull up to clean. It does. Front panel comes off pretty easily. Just to pull forward, and you can take this and, you know, take some water, wash it off, brush it off, set it off to the side, let it, you know, let it dry so you don't suck water into your thing. And if we come to the front here, it looks like we have some pretty upgradable fan slots. Looks like we could do another 120 millimeter fan. MSI, why only 2 fans? Like, you could have put a black fan here if you're worried about the RGB getting messed up. Honestly, just put another RGB fan, or throw a 50-cent or probably a $13 fan, add it to the cost, and throw it in the box and give us the choice and give us 4 screws. I mean, that's a missed opportunity for some cooling. Probably an upgrade. I'll have a link for 120 millimeter fan right here, and then I'll probably have right after that a link for the MSI expensive RGB fans. It does look like we have slots for 140 millimeter fans, so if you wanted to go balls to the wall with cooling in the front, you could do that. And it does look like we could fit a radiator in the front. There is a slot right here. I haven't gotten this other panel off in the rear, so let's do that right now and see if we can put a 360 millimeter radiator in the front. There is a 280 millimeter slot up top. You can put a 280 millimeter liquid coolant or AIO. Holy crap, that screw was tight. All right, so it kind of swings like a door, and it looks like we have some LED addressable hubs with some electrical tape on them, another SSD card slot, and it looks like we have 2 trays for spinny disks or SSDs. If you buy an SSD and you're going to put it in this cart, just remember that it doesn't come with the screws, and you will need to order those. I will have a screw kit linked right here down below, or somewhere around here. So just looking at this, the wire management subpar. I wouldn't say it's the best work I've seen in the world. It's not the worst. We got extra power cables for Molex right here, and it does look like we got extra power cables for SATA right here too. They're just tucked away for, you know, cleanliness. Is that tray removable? Yeah, it does look like it's removable. Yes, this tray is removable, so you could probably get a full width radiator in here. The other thing you could do is leave this tray in here. It does look like there's a screw pattern to move this tray deeper towards the power supply right here. So you could shift this whole thing over if you want to do a radiator. The other option is you put the radiator on this side and you keep your fans on this side, and that way you don't, you know, intrude in this way with the fans. Because a lot of people will secure the radiator to the front and then put the fans on the inside so you can see them. Of course, in the front you can't see them, or you could do triple stack where you have 6 fans here on a 360 millimeter radiator. That's kind of doing like baller scale, just max balls to the wall cooling. One thing I did notice is it seems like this is no, it's not magnetic. Yeah, it's just pinched in there. So we got a shroud for the power supply so we can keep the pixies out and the dust pixies out. Of course, it's going to be difficult as heck to get back in there. That's pretty much this Codex R 14th gen in a nutshell. I like the cooler, I like the RAM, I like pretty much everything about this. All right, guys, we're going to do some bloatware, we're going to do the BIOS, we're going to do some benchmarks in gaming, and then I'll have a final conclusion on this MSI Codex R 14th gen. Yeah! All right, guys, the main thing that you can see that's a big issue is Norton. That is going to be your main bloatware. Go ahead and install that. There's going to be 2 things of it on here that you can find in here. Other than that, the other software in here is nothing to worry about. All right, guys, so we're going to open up MSI Center, and then we're going to go to general settings right off the bat. And then we're going to go to hardware monitoring, which is going to show all your different hardware stuff like CPU frequency, GPU core, system fan RPM, CPU temperature, GPU temperature, all that dad mamma jamma info. And then we're going to go to user scenarios, which is going to allow you to kind of configure like the different clock speeds and fan speeds and, you know, whatnot. I would say don't use that. Just go to the fans and manually turn them up individually. Also turn on MSI Fast Boot. It's going to be important down the road. All right, so here we're showing the manual fan speed controllers. Hit it up to 100%, hit apply. You don't want to mess with the smart fan stuff. Trust me, it's just not that good. I did the decibel test. It only runs about 42 decibels and 52 max, which is not very loud at all. And as you can see from right here, you could do your overclocking. I would say with the MSI fans, they suck at sucking air. You're only going to really want to do like 3 to 5%. I would look at getting Noctuas, and if you want to keep the RGB goodness, look at Corsairs or Lians. Trust me on this, you do not want to stick with the MSI fans if you are going to go forward with overclocking. All right, so we're going to X out of that tab, and then we are going to go to something called Mystic Lighting. It's MSI's control software for RGB goodness. It works like crap. I tried to restart the computer a bunch of times. I could not get it to work. The only thing I could get to work is the button on the front of the thing. I don't know if some RGB stuff's not connected, if it's disconnected or what, but I could never get it to work. That's pretty much MSI Center in a nutshell, guys. If you want an in-depth software and overclocking video for the MSI Center down the road, give me a comment down below, and if I get enough of them, I will make that video for you guys. All right, guys, so the first thing we want to do is go into settings, go to advanced, go to PCIe, PCI subsystem settings. Then we want to check resize bar. That's enabled. All right, now we can back out of that. That's one of the main settings. Go over all the other settings in here really quick. You're going to want to go to OC. And the thing you want to check right here is that DRAM setting. See how this extreme memory profile is set to profile 1? You want to make sure it's set to profile 1, not disabled. And that will give you, your max 5600 megahertz per second. So there's other overclock settings in here that you can futz around with. There's all sorts of stuff, but that's way too in depth for this video. I'm not going to get into that. But those are the main things you want to look out for in your BIOS. Alright guys, let's get on to the gaming and benchmarks and see what this bad mamma jam of a PC can do. All right, guys, we got the conclusion of this Codex R, and I'm going to say 2 thumbs up of approval. This thing did a really good job with the gaming and benchmarks, and I was really proud of it. It did a good job of cooling, and I mean, it's fully upgradable. What could more you want from a pre-built PC? I mean, other than some of the waste, on some of these other PCs that, block the whole front of the PC off, they don't do this here. And it's a great offering, and it's going to be a great PC for gaming and other, work type of loads. I'm going to say this, at least we don't have a bunch of e-waste, and I'm not a field fairy running around trying to save the planet, but I do care about the planet. So, they did a pretty good job of not making this thing a shrouded mumble jumble of non-ventilation that'll eat itself alive. I'm going to say, yeah, I would buy this for the 1,200 buckaroos. It's a good deal, especially on sale. If this is too much of a high task for you to get this, versus the HPs. The HPs are good PCs. They're good starter PCs. They're good, just buy it, forget it. This is a good buy it, forget it. You're spending more because you're getting more. You're getting better ventilation, better cooling, better upgradability. You're also getting overclockability, which if you want to take things a little bit farther. As you can see, we're not 20, 30% turned down because of turning down the wattage of the processor, turning down the wattage of the motherboard. That's why they can handle the graphics cards that I talk about with the power supplies that they can. Because you do all the wattage math, you look at all the, I'm not going to give my trade secrets away, but anyways, you do some math, you look at some stuff, and you figure it out. So we can jump on screen really quick, look at Solar Bay, which I probably didn't do with the benchmarks in gaming, and we scored a pretty good thing. But there's this button that allows you to change it to some of the profiles, like this rainbow pie that spins around in a circle. That looks pretty neat. Or this purple and red and, you know, I don't know, it's just a multicolor spinny disc. Not a dick, spinny disc. Speak proper English, tech nitwit. Anyways, the LED button up here that you hit allows you to control the colors without having to go into the software, because the software might, you know, choke a chicken and die and not work, because even Corsair's iCUE software that's been around for, I don't know how long, 8 years, and it still can't get their addressable RGB correct. That's a whole nother subject for another time or another video. Anyways, guys, if there's anything I missed or you think that should have been included in this video, comment down below. I'd really like to hear from my audience, you. And I thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm Tech Nitwit, and I'm out, y'all.